Yo,
Yo, what's up?
pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry to wake you up so early in your day.
No problem. It's definitely not early. I just got home really
One
late, and
1:30 p.m. How
yeah,
late was it, bro?
I was just big chilling. I was kind of tired from like the whole Pat's House weekend and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. How late does Vertigo go?
It just goes till like midnight ish, but
Okay,
I just like
yeah,
hang out with people afterward and stuff like that. So,
yeah, for sure.
okay, cool. Let's start with like the intro and just say like your tag, where you're from, how long you've been playing, and goals for the game, and
Yeah.
uh, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my tag is Blesse. I'm from Northeast Ohio. I play Pikachu. I've been playing for like 8 or 9 years right now, and goals is definitely something I wanted to like discuss. Because like my current like goal, I guess, would be just to like make top 100. But I feel like ranking goals might be unhealthy in a way, and I'm trying to like figure out a way to make my goals like a little healthier.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have like two goals with this lesson. I want to do like some VOD analysis, and then I just have like some like mentality discussion stuff I would like to like ask you about too, if that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. What do you want to start with?
What do you think's better? Do you want to like look at some games first, or do you want me to just get into like some mentality stuff?
Whatever is more pressing on your mind. I think we can do it in
Okay.
either way.
We'll go through the games because I'm sure some of them will pop up like mid game. So I
Okay.
sent you a VOD. I get reverse 3 out in this VOD. I have a lot of Sheiks in my region. It is living hell for Pikachu. I have like Holiday, Dreffen, Free Palestine, Just, Ice King, Thrive. It's crazy. So
Yeah, that's not good. Like
yeah,
that's
no,
definitely
it's not.
rough.
It's not
Um,
great.
what do you think of the matchup in general?
Um, I don't think it's particular. So I think there's like two ways to like look at a matchup. I think some of them are just like outright bad. Like Pika Puff is just a bad matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them are like hard to play. And I think this is like a hard to play matchup. It's not particularly like bad, but you have to be like on point with Pika pretty much. And like that definitely is like it's tough for my mental because I have to just be playing like on point all the time.
Yeah. I think in my opinion, I feel like this matchup is just like pretty bad, like in general. Um,
Yeah.
I think if like the Sheik plays it correctly, then as the Pikachu, it's definitely like a tough time. Like I feel like you should just sort of be like, well, I have to just be better than them to like win, you know? Like I
Yeah,
have to be
that's
like a good amount better than the Sheiks to win. And you can do it. It's just like
for sure.
if they were just as good as you, I think that like over time it's just kind of rough. Um,
Yeah, I found it like the Sheiks that I play a lot get really tough, and then like the random like even like some of the random like top 100 Sheiks that don't get a lot of Pika practice feel so much easier than like some of my local Sheiks.
yeah, no, because that's what I was thinking about was like, yeah, like at first you're like, oh, I can get it, like, yeah, and then it's like, okay, like you've taken 20 stocks, like, what can you do now?
Yeah,
And
like
it's
there
kind
are a lot
of
of little gimmicks and DI mix-ups that are just really like you just have to like knowledge check them, and when they know it, it's tough.
yeah, no, like I play a lot of Sheik Pika, not necessarily super recently, but I played quite a bit of Sheik Pika with OKP,
Yeah,
and our first few sessions, I was just getting like zero death like every game or every
yeah,
stock by like up airs and stuff. And now that I know to like DI it just a little bit better, the combo game just gets a lot trickier. I still think like
yeah.
you can make it work. Like Pikachu is very fast, um, but
Yeah,
it's
in my
rough.
head, like my goal is like just like I don't even care if I'm like high end top 100 and I know Pikachu can do that. Like that's just really a general skill problem at that point. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't
No,
think character
it
matters
makes
too much
sense.
for like that part of the top 100.
I do think it's rough to just have that many Sheiks in the region.
Yeah, it's not great.
Is your screen share working?
Yeah,
Or
that's
okay,
good.
cool. Let me make sure. Okay.
So my main like focuses going into this game were to just he loves doing like aerial F tilt and like just trying to like punish that on reaction more was like my main goal.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see these tech chases as a common theme in this in this set. I often am off on things by very slight timings, like here. No, not there. Right.
Yeah, good down smash though. Like recognizing you weren't gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah, right there with the missed tech chase on the tech away. Sheik just
Yeah,
feels
so
like
much of this
so
game
hard
is
attack
just
too.
getting reversal like that. It's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's because like because I played so much Sheik Pikachu, I feel like I see so many things that like the Sheik should be doing better.
Yeah, for sure.
um, hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of watch for a sec. And let me know if you like see anything that you want to talk about while I'm like just kind of taking a look at it.
Okay. Yeah, I have looked this over, so I do know like a few things.
I definitely think you want to be dash dancing a bit more. Um,
This stuff really gets me. The mini pokes with jabs and
yeah,
like the very end hits of like tilts. Like
yeah. I think like with like the F tilt and stuff like that. I think what you want to be doing against Sheik is, if the Sheik is playing correctly at least, is you want to sort of set up a situation where they are forced to go for like a big boost grab if they want to try to open you up. And then
so
otherwise you kind of can just dash dance like right outside of tilt range indefinitely.
yeah, yeah. So like I guess that's what my game plan really does try to like go through that where I'm trying to like stay right outside the dash dance range. But I have such a hard time reacting to like the cross stage like boost grabs or dash attacks. Like when those happen, it's like I don't expect them at all, and you'll
Yeah,
see
no,
that
you're
later
not
in
going
this
to be able
set.
to react to those.
Okay.
That's just like the mix up. Like the mix up is that like because what Sheik wants to do like the smallest poke possible. She doesn't want to do like a big commitment.
Yeah.
So like if she's doing like a boost grab or a dash attack, it's like such a big commitment. Like basically you're like taking Fox, like you're playing against Fox, and you're like, well, his only options in neutral are now like wait or up smash. You're basically doing
Okay.
that for Sheik where you're like, yeah, like if Sheik wants to make something happen, it needs to be like a big boost grab or something like that. And I think that what that does is like it first of all you weed out every single Sheik who's just swinging, which is most of them. Cuz most of them are going to like they don't feel comfortable going for, the boost grab all the time. They want like forward tilts and for you to like kind of like run into stuff.
That
Um,
seems more of this player when I play them is like a lot of just swinging, but it's also like tough to get in on that because like your frame data is just so good.
on which thing?
I'm just like F tilt, jab, down tilt mix ups, like trying to wall me out. It's like Pikachu's such short range, it's like tough to like break that like
Mm-hmm.
and get through those.
Yeah, I think like the point is that like when they throw out these moves, they like it's clear what you can do is you can do something like you do sort of like an even dash dance, and then you do like one little bit like extra, like kind of more forward than the last one, and then go back, like kind of like mix up the spacing on the dash dance slightly. And then
Okay,
like the one where you moved a little bit more forward has like a way higher chance of baiting the forward tilt or something like that. So when
that
you
makes
do the
sense.
slightly longer one, you just get like really ready for them to like whiff. And if they like whiff while you're sort of in your like waiting type of dash dance, then it's fine. Like you can just
Yeah.
sort of use that as like a habit of like, oh, they're kind of swinging despite me not really showing them anything like obvious.
I guess that gets into like one of my main mentality like problems is I'll get into these modes where I'm just like, okay, I'm only gonna look for F tilt right now, and I'll do that dash dance, and I'll commit to only looking for that, and I'll ignore like everything else, and it's very
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to like react or like I don't know when I'm supposed to be reacting and when I'm supposed to be like waiting for a read or something.
Mm-hmm. I think most of the time you're just trying to keep yourself at like a safe range so that she can't just beat you up because that's what they want to do. Like first of all, they're like, "Oh, I'll just hit Pikachu, whatever."
Yeah.
And I think like it's sort of like your autopilot will keep you safe as you're kind of like spacing around Sheik, just like spamming F tilt and stuff like that, and then you just sort of decide when to like do a more active like mix up of like, oh, I'm gonna try to bait the F tilt now or whatever like that. Um,
Okay, I just want to go over something like you said. Like my autopilot will keep me safe like in a certain range, and I thought it was kind of
yeah.
interesting. Because recently, like against this player too, I was watching your Fox lesson with Fox Sheik and how you
Mm-hmm.
were saying about like the 1-3-5 dash dance mix-ups.
Yeah,
And
doing like a three or whatever.
yeah, I started like spamming that and just like being super aggressive or some Sheiks, and it works very well. And I
Mm-hmm.
never really understood why it worked very well because it felt like so brain dead. But
It's
then I was
so good
realizing
though.
like my autopilot was kind of like taking over in some of the situations and like kind of like I don't know what you said, like keeping me safe in some of those situations.
Yeah, like you'll be dash dancing and like be like, okay, like I'm just gonna like react to like an F tilt in place or like you know you're doing like your dash dance thing and then like they wave dash in forward tilt and like you just kind of like shield it on reflex and then you get like an up air or
Yeah,
something like that'll happen if you're at like a good range, you know.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So putting myself like into those autopilot like ranges where I can like on instinct react.
Yeah, like you just need to practice playing at like the good range where like it like there's just like this range where you can move at where like Sheik always feels like you might just be about to jump in, but you're not going to, and like
Okay.
it forces her to move forward, which is Sheik's worst nightmare. Sheiks don't like moving forward
Yeah.
because they have to be really careful, and it's just really easy to do something wrong and like jump towards you and get nared out of it or something, and then like a big combo starts. Um,
What are the downsides of Sheik moving forward in like this matchup, would you say?
it just like makes her more like vulnerable, like just that like she can't tilt, you know, she can't do tilt attacks like out of a dash,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
like her short hop takes a long time, so if she jumps up but it's in like a really like if she jumps up but it's at a dumb timing but she's like like drifting away with her back facing you, it's like not like you can really do anything about that, you know, like you can move in a little
Yeah.
bit but that's it. Whereas like if she jumps at you, um like let's like she backflips at you but like from a little closer and you just dash right under her, then like oh suddenly she's in like a pretty bad spot, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just like the because she does so much sort of like walling and like I'm on the right side and you're on the left, like the idea of kind of like pushing in a lot of times on Pikachu feels like you're like you're taking more risks than you need to because Pikachu's just kind of like waiting for you a lot of times. It feels like as the Sheik
Okay. Yeah.
with like their
Interesting.
dash dance. Um, I think like the ultimate version of this matchup as the Pikachu, like pretty much every time I lose this matchup as Sheik, the Pikachu does a really good job of making it feel like we're both just kind of swinging and hitting each other. Um,
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt too. Like when I'm winning, it's all like momentum based. It
yeah,
feels
it's like
like if
boom, and
I'm
then like
on Sheik,
interaction,
it's so
interaction,
tough for Sheik to like
interaction.
set back up.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely like every Pikachu's favorite moment too. Is like when they're like, "I'm so fast!" Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's keep watching. Have some ideas to work off of now. This is just like the most frustrating part of the game of the
Yeah.
matchup.
So that's a big problem for me. I'll like read a tech and then I'll just like not commit to it. I did commit to it there because that's something I'm working on, but the
Well,
last one I just like,
against Sheik, you can't RTC anyway.
yeah,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you
I
committed to the
wait
tech in
there.
place, and then you like still didn't get the reaction.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I already knew that was gonna happen, but I don't swing.
Hmm.
I thought it was such a
I
random up
think on
smash.
this stage in particular. Oh, what'd you say?
That was just a very random up smash, I feel like. But go ahead.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, you just kind of got like the timing mix up.
Yeah.
Um, on this stage in particular, I think that like I mean, it's true on all the stages for some amount, but usually she can like go to the platform and stuff. On this stage, you can kind of just like do any combo you can to get Sheik off stage, and then you
Yeah.
get like the like ledge dash. You ledge dash, dash past, dash in, charged up smash, so that you're facing like outwards. and it just kills at like 70.
The DI mix up on the up smash. You mean?
Huh?
You just like the DI mix up for the up smash.
Yeah, it's just so they can't DI out or in, and they'll just die either way.
Oh yeah,
at
that
like,
makes sense.
At like
if they
70.
DI, they're off the stage. Okay.
They're like way off and like pretty dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like pretty guaranteed to like kill out of that at like literally like 70. So I feel like on this stage you can like extra. You can be a little bit more like, oh, I just got to get Sheik off stage because she doesn't have like the platform recoveries.
Yeah, the platform recoveries have been very tricky for me recently.
It's tough, yeah. If she does them really well. Another thing is, I think, like, anytime you're in this spot where she comes back fresh and you're at like 100 or something, I feel like this is the time where you extra want to do that dash dancing thing. Because Sheik is just going to be looking for, like I think that's something that, like, the good Pikachus do really well, is they know at like 100 that I want. Like, I don't want F tilt at 100. It's probably not going to do anything to Pikachu. I want down tilt. I want like a grab, and even if you get it, even if like she grabs you at this percent, she can't kill you. Like if you hold away and get faired or whatever, she's not gonna be able to kill you.
Yeah, I've realized how long Pika survives with Sheik. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like she can't kill you off of fair or nair or back air or any of those at like 100, but she can kill you with like down tilt up air. So like this is the percent where like just know that that Sheik comes back and she's just like, just gotta get a down tilt. Just gotta get my down tilt. Just gonna get my down tilt. And like, so what you can do is you can kind of like dash dance, like camp for a little bit, and then be like, in, and then try to get her to like, do the 3 thing. Like try to like, am I going in? And get her to do like a down tilt.
Yeah.
And then you get like up throw, up smash. You can get like a big combo, maybe get an edge guard, like really start setting some stuff up.
Yeah, getting grabs feels like so good at low percents in this matchup too.
Like the goal is you want to get a grab here. None of your other options are all that good unless you get like a big juggle when she's like she's already in the air and you get a nair or something. I mean, even then you're gonna nair like grab or something.
Mm-hmm. Do you think going to ledge like in this position's like bad or good or?
Like between stocks.
Yeah, that's kind of like my default. But...
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think I think that like doing this or whatever. I don't think that she can really do anything to that like too much.
Yeah.
But this is like they're just gonna be going for this. You just need to make it feel like you can hit me with whatever you want except down tilt.
That's fair. Yeah, true.
Because it's just like that is their one kill setup here.
And I think a lot of Sheiks don't even know like down tilt is their like only kill setup there.
Yeah, but in that case, they're not even going to use their one kill setup,
Yeah, true.
And you can just basically just look for grab normally without even... Like, you're basically going to do the same thing, but without the threat of down tilt, just because, like,
exactly.
The idea is they can't kill you with any of the other stuff there, And then when you're at low percent, you got to be really, really, really careful of, like, the grab.
Yeah.
Like, especially, they'll go for a lot of jab grab. So, like, when you're at really low percent, you gotta be extra, like, buttony. like, you don't want it, you need to be pressing, like, if you're dash dancing or whatever, make sure that it's, like, kind of, like, a somewhat fast dash dance. Like, in the sense that, like, if you get jabbed, you keep moving. You just want to, like, be kind of continuing to press the buttons, because, like, if you get jabbed and you double jump out of it and you keep playing, it's fine. It's just like when you jab the Pikachu as Sheik, and they kind of go like, and you're just like, nice grab. Like they just...
I get stuck in my movement a lot when I get, like, hit by small things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's, like, a big... Like, that's, like, a big thing on the Pikachu end, is like, I'm nairing in... And we're both at like low percent, I need, like, you need to be prepared for the jab because, like, Sheik just has like the danger of the commitment. Essentially, it's like you're like, I'm gonna short hop at you, and Sheik's like, I'll forward tilt that, and then you're like, I was gonna short hop at you and waveland back, at the last second, and then to dodge the forward tilt, and then I'll kill you for it. And so Sheik, like, when she's on the ground at low percent. Like, when she's, like, at a percent where, like, I don't know, the forward tilt's not... Like, none of her tilts are really going to do all that much, and they're kind of committal. She just has like a lot of motivation to do like the jabs at the low percent, and you just need to be like aware that that is her like primary tool. Like you just don't need to worry about like like up air or something that much, or like down tilt up air at this percent.
That's true.
And if you're low enough to the ground, like you're not like the back air is just not gonna do like that much good. Like I think Sheik just doesn't have that many options a lot of times against Pikachu. At any given point, she just has one or two like really, really good things. Yeah. And I think as the Pikachu, you're kind of just like, oh, we're in that spot where you have that one broken thing. Like, come on, do the broken thing. I'm gonna bait it so I can hit you. And like that just sort of makes it annoying for the Sheik because they're like, well, I don't want to rely on my okay stuff, and they won't let me get any of my best stuff. Yeah. And as the Sheik, you can kind of end up feeling like a little bit like locked in. By the Pikachu, like you're like, what do I really do here, And I think that the neutral kind of becomes a lot more like campy with like Sheik will crouch a lot and wave dash back eventually, and Pikachu will kind of like just dash dance a lot and use like a lot of like platform mix-ups and stuff to try to like you're kind of just baiting Sheik to like throw something out stupidly over and over again after you reach that point of the matchup.
Yeah, that's true. I actually got out of that jab, which is nice.
Yeah. No, and like, it's just one of those things where it's like, if the jab works, the matchup becomes 100-0.
Yeah,
and it's like,
exactly.
And if you avoid the jab, then it's like, hey, we keep playing. Like, the game keeps going.
I got stuck in a dash dance here because I was like, I had the spacing and everything for the
F-tilt,
but I just like messed
to
up
like
somehow.
get the nair here.
Yeah, it's also just like my second guessing again because like, I don't know, should I be reacting to the like visually to the F tilt or should I just like predict it? Like I kind of feel like I can react to it, but it's like so tight. It's like I don't know.
You kind of do like a thing where you're like. You do the inputs as if the forward tilt is gonna happen when you think it's gonna happen, and then you kind of like confirm it at the very last second.
Okay, yeah.
Like maybe you like short hop at them because you thought you figured out the timing of the forward tilt and you move around it and dash in and like jump, but then like you just sort of check like one last time at the final moment, Yeah. I think you can kind of react like that, but like. Overall, like, if you're just standing there and, like, if you're standing there at your normal dash dance range and Sheik just, like, randomly F-tilts, I don't think you get, like, a freebie.
Yeah.
But I think you can use the fact that you've almost got her to kind of, like, like, you run in and then she'll, like, wave dash back or something, and then you can kind of, like, control the situation because she can, like, she's still at a frame disadvantage even though you don't have, like a pure punish.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing like a landing mix-up. Like Falco like lands with a down air and you just dodge the down air, and then like after he lands you kind of come in for like, oh well, I can't get like a pure grab on the down air, but I can like pressure the landing. Sheik is kind of like that with like an F
second
tilt.
Options.
What's up?
Yeah, this guy loves to do aerial F tilt, and then Holiday, my other Sheik I play all the time, does aerial dash back. So it's kind of like I have to adapt to both of them, which is a little tricky. But
yeah, like you got that.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was super hard predicting that was gonna happen, pretty much.
Yeah, dude, now that you mention it, he just literally did like fair forward tilt like 8 times.
This one too, like I misspaced this, and I hate when this happens. Like
what you want to do is like, I don't think you're doing a super bad job of dealing with it, but it's like a difference between like, he always does fair F tilt, so when he does it badly, I will punish. It's the issue with that is that it gives them too much like agency. Like you're giving them too much like control over the situation. Where like I always say like when somebody's being dumb, the natural reaction is like, well, I'll just like wait for them to do the dumb thing and beat it, But what that does is it gives them this power of like, well, one time out of 10, I was smart enough to just not do the dumb thing. And because you were
Right.
reading it, now I got it. I got my hit, and I get my big thing. That's like the Captain Falcon.
Yeah, yeah, you're really right. Because then
And
he'll
so
do
it's
like a boost grab, and I'll just be like, okay, well, what the hell?
yeah, it's like they get to like be smart because your whole game plan is based around like them like probably being dumb, you know? And so I think
Yeah,
that's like the point of the more of a dash in. Like the idea is that like when the opponent is in a spot where like they might be doing a fair, you want to make the forward tilt like extra appealing so that it's like you basically want to like try to like force them to do their bad thing rather than like waiting for it to happen. You're kind of like I'm ignoring when you're doing those bad things because you're not in the spot I really like thought about. And then you're like, well, how about here? This is like the perfect spot for your bad thing, and they're like almost certainly gonna do it in that spot, and then you can punish. But you want it to be like your idea,
yeah.
rather
So
than
like,
like, yeah,
oh,
well, this guy dashes back afterwards, so it's different.
so like almost reacting to like the aerial and then thinking about, oh, F tilt will probably come after this, rather than thinking about the entire like concept of them doing an aerial F tilt in neutral.
Yeah, you're like, oh, they like to F tilt after the aerial, so I'll make the F tilt look like juicy, and then
Yeah,
you can make them like whiff the F tilt in a spot where you get a back throw, and on this stage, back throw is just death.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
um, yeah, and it's like the same thing with like the dash back guy, where it's like he'll do like a fair dash back, and so you're like, he does the fair, and you just space it out. You keep doing the normal Pikachu spacing, and then it's like they do the fair, and you kind of space it out again. Like maybe they do the fair, and then you go to the side plat, so that, like the dash attack or boost grab wouldn't work even if they did it. And like not on this stage, obviously, but
Yeah.
let me see what I
So the
was
big
saying.
thing I'm getting from this is my dash dance spacing needs to be pretty on point.
Yeah, I feel like the dash dances you're doing so far are not the exact ones I'm like thinking of. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
Sheik just has to be very intentional with her spacing. And so more so than like against a lot of other characters, I think like you can really lock into like a spacing of like I'm right here. And then like basically Sheik just isn't going to do like a weird little dash dance where she moves forward slightly. She's like
Yeah.
where she is, and then she's gonna either move back or forward.
Yeah, and like one space
Yeah, like she's
for
just gonna
like
be
yeah.
like she's gonna wave dash in, and now I'm in this position. And so like you can kind of abuse the fact that they want to just stay in their one spot by just always being like out barely outside of it, and then sometimes you poke in, and sometimes you like kind of poke away and then come back, um, but it's just sort of creates the most like mental tension for the Sheik.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, okay, like right here. No, this
Yeah.
is like a good example of you're like, okay, like, because like what you're doing is you're creating this illusion for the opponent that like they're doing short hops and you are like respecting like the spacing around it. Like you are respecting the spacing around it, but basically what they think you're doing is they think, oh, like I'm landing my fair, and then they don't want to get hit with the forward tilt, so they're like spacing around it.
Hmm.
Like Sheik essentially gets caught in this feeling of like that they're walling Pikachu out. That's what you want them to definitely be in that zone.
Yeah,
That
that's
like
fair.
you're dash dancing back and forth, and like they just need to like time their move to keep you out. Because once you've like established that for them, that like, okay, you're gonna fair forward tilt, and I'm gonna like dodge the range of the forward tilt, and you just need to keep walling me. Because they're not thinking about like, how do I move over here and like get Pikachu? It's too hard for Sheik to like move forward. Like, especially in a situation like this where like trades and stuff are really dangerous. The Sheik is thinking like, how do I keep Pikachu out? Like Pikachu's gonna jump in and try to hit me, and I gotta keep her out.
Hmm.
And so the Sheik is like, okay, like I'm walling and I'm getting these options, and what you're doing is you're moving at a range where you're like, well, like I want to be really safe, so the forward tilt's definitely not gonna hit me. But they're sort of trying to react to the idea that like, are they in range this time? Are they in range this time? And so then like when you finally get to the range where it almost looks like there's like a range, like there's like they're not gonna do it on this one, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of be like, oh, like, look, I'm dodging, and they do this, and you kind of land at a range where the F tilt kind of looks juicy.
I'm such in a good range for that too, and look where I go. I just like run all the way back.
Yeah, and it's like this is the moment where you bait it, and you just bait this and you kill them out of it, and you just do it over and over until they adapt.
Yeah.
Because like there's the F tilt again. It's like you're just like, oh man, look here's, and you can tell from their perspective, like they're not trying to rush in. They're like, Pikachu's coming at me. Pikachu's trying to come at me. Pikachu's trying to come at me. Like this whole time they're just walling and hoping to like keep you out from getting them. So like if you can just get them to reach of like, oh no, come on, like I thought you were walling, why'd you reach for me? You know, but like they'll fall for that and then you can just murder them out of it.
Yeah.
And especially like right here, it's just literally like up smash, dead.
I think that's like obviously my game plan. Like in this situation, I'm just mess up the spacing 2 times in 2 different ways. Like one I go way back, and one I'm too close. So it's like I gotta find that happy medium.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was more, just trying to explain the idea of like how not to feel like you're like a victim of their being repetitive.
Not like the Dark Souls boss mentality.
The what?
The Dark Souls boss mentality.
Yeah.
Where I'm just dodging the one really good option on repeat.
Yeah, I think this is like your ideal spot, basically, where you're both just like, throwing stuff out.
Hitting. So you think trading's pretty good for me in this matchup? Or...
I think when this happens, you get free, like, grabs.
Okay.
Because Pikachu's just so much faster.
Yeah.
Like, you're faster, so, like all of these nairs are just, like, freebie grab combos. Like they're just doing this, and you're like, not that one, but this one, like definitely.
Yeah.
Like your goal is not necessarily to like, what's like the way to think about it? Like your goal is not necessarily to trade. Your goal is to make the Sheik feel like you're like a trading psychopath, and they just need to keep trading with you. You know, because your whole goal, like the overarching goal, is to get them to like whiff bad dumb moves.
Yeah, that's kind of what Dreffen says when he plays me. He's like, he doesn't like the trades because, like, eventually, like, one of the trades is going to be bad for him.
It does feel like that sometimes. Like, the trades, I feel like the trades in this matchup is not necessarily, like, bad for Sheik, but it feels even. Like, if we're both just trading over and over, this feels like a dead even matchup, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. That's not what Sheik really wants.
And I think that, like, this is just, like, another method to get Sheik, like, swinging. Like, I think the whole battle of this matchup is to just, like, convince the Sheik that you're definitely coming in right now. And, like, that's just, like, the whole battle. You just do, like, the whole game. It's just, like, I'm coming in! And then you just try to get them to, like, whiff something. And then, like I said, OKP in these situations does a lot of short hop in, and then he'll do, like, a high waveland back to dodge the F-tilt. Like, he'll short hop in at me, and then literally, like, waveland back through the F-tilt. And then you just grab me. And I'm like, oh.
Wait, he'll waveland. Wait.
Like he short hops at me, and then he wavelands down like this. Like right here.
Okay.
And it'll kind of like just dodge the F tilt.
Interesting. I see Swift do like similar stuff with like weird air dodge wave dashes.
Yeah, no, it's really good because it like the Sheik just sees you doing that, and they're like, whatever, I'll F tilt and trade with the Nair, and then they don't get a trade and they get hit. And so you just end up in this spot where they're like, Pikachu acts like all they want to do is fight me, you know, but then like every time I think we're fighting, then it's just like a bait.
Yeah, okay.
And so, but you have to like convince them, like, oh, here I go, and like the trades being even are good for that because you'll get like trade, bait them, you know, and then like because they think you're gonna go for like another trade or something like that.
That's fair.
Like right here where you're kind of like rah, then like right here like baiting this F tilt, like dashing back on this F tilt. Not that like you to say you should have known the future here or anything, but like the idea of like we're in the trading zone, we keep trading, and then like you're looking for Sheik to throw out something kind of bad.
So do you think like hopefully this will make sense, but like we do like trade, and then I take like a pause and wait for them to swing.
Yeah, I would do trade, pause.
Okay,
I wouldn't do 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I think, like, you gotta just accept how, like, repetitive this matchup is against, like, especially, like if there is, like, not all the time, but like if there's a Sheik and they just keep doing this one like kind of bad-ish thing, like this person keeps doing like the fair forward tilt or whatever, like for like every opening you get in the whole game will probably be off the fair forward tilt. Like you should kind of just do it over and over again.
Okay. Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
and the reason is just that like the way Sheik's moves like work, she's covering so much stuff by doing that. Like if you
Yeah.
don't just play, like if the Sheik, it's essentially it's like there's like layers to the matchup where once the Sheik is like crouching really well and they're doing their jab grabs and they're doing everything like really well with like minimal commitment, then you play like the real matchup where you're doing a lot of really patient dash dancing and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like trying to like poke in and like bait them and stuff. But for the most part, like most Sheiks, as you've probably found out, do not care about the Pikachu matchup, and they
No,
just
they don't.
consider it basically like a free dub. And so
Yeah.
your job against those people is just to hit really hard and be like, oh, you're bad dumb habit. Oh, you're bad dumb habit. And like maybe they have to go home and like fix it. But like if you don't just like ope your dumb habit them, then like those moves kind of cover other options. Like you'll be trying to
Okay.
do other stuff and just get fair forward tilted out of it, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so it's like once you can convince the Sheik that like if they swing, you're ready, and then they stop swinging and they really just sit down and play, then you know, okay, cool, the Sheik is waiting. It's my turn as Pikachu to kind of like do mixes and like the Waveland back. And like there's a lot of times against the good Pikachus where I'm sitting there crouching and they're like going crazy. Like I'm just sitting there crouching, like wave dash back, walk in, crouch, wave dash back, and they're like dash dash, waveland off the platform, like up be canceled, waveland, jump, air dodge, and they're just doing like everything they can to like trick me. Pikachu is just running around, and Sheik is looking for like her moment to like throw the move out. You know,
So do you think Pikachu going crazy like that is good?
I think that they have to like they're just moving
Uh-huh.
her like they can't just press they can't press into my crouch. Like Pikachu doesn't have like a good way to approach Sheik crouch like consistently.
Yeah.
Like it's not like oh Sheik is crouching, yeah, like it's just like jump in, you know. It's kind of like you have to really work your way in and get like a down tilt and then like bait, like you'll get like a down tilt and Sheik tries to CC it and forward tilt, but you like down tilt dash back and like dodge the F tilt or something. Like you'll get that after like 30 seconds of just running around like a crazy person.
Interesting. Because, okay, so I've been watching like a lot of JHU, a lot of OKP, and I've noticed they just kind of like go crazy on the platforms a lot, and I don't play like that.
Yeah, they just run around and their whole goal is just like, come on Sheik, like you can hit me.
Yeah.
And because if the Sheik doesn't want to hit you as Pikachu, you just what are you supposed to do? Like you can't really. It's not that you can't hit her. It's just that like you really need to like work your way in. Like it's not easy to hit her. You need to get her out of position, like jumping. Like she jumps just as you drop through the platform, you know. And now she's above you, and you get like an opening, or she throw out an F tilt, and you get to punish her, or like you just like basically need to. It's kind of like what I tell people against like ice climbers, where like because they can't like fully move the same way the other characters can, like around the platforms and dash dancing and stuff, that if you just kind of like move around for long enough, they eventually are like kind of like will get out of position.
Yeah,
And
that's very
like
true.
Sheik Pikachu is just like, well, I'm faster than Sheik. And Sheik is like, well, that's fine because I don't need to move. And you're like, okay, well then I'll move around so much that eventually 30 seconds in when I hit you with one nair and then go back to doing my dash dance that like no hitbacks. You know,
That's
like
interesting. Yeah.
as the Sheik, the tough part against the really good Pikachus is just staying aware. Like because even like Axe and stuff, like he'll just be like, Waveland off, double jump back to the platform. Waveland off, double jump back to the
Yeah,
platform.
it
Go
just
to the
feels
top
so
plat, drop
pointless
down,
when I do
Waveland
it, but
off.
it's good.
What's up?
It just like feels so pointless when I'm doing that, but I guess you're kind of making me think that there is a point.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
makes
just the
sense.
way that Pikachu has to play neutral against Sheik.
Okay. Yeah. So I
And
can
then
just kind of play my single player game and practice my tech skill until they make a mistake.
pretty much, and you're just trying to be like, come on, try to hit me. Like you want Sheik to think that you're gonna try to force an interaction, like with like a nair or something, and your goal is just to like keep not forcing it over and over. Um,
Okay.
and then like what'll happen is like they'll finally get you into this weird position, right? Like they kind of catch you, like the Pikachu catches the Sheik in like this funny position where she's kind of in the air or something like that, and then Pikachu will just be like, "Oh, I hit you once, trade, back to waiting." You know, and some point during that, like the Sheik might throw out like, "Oh, you traded twice. We're finally." A lot of times you'll get them. That's what always gets me as Sheik is the Pikachu just camps forever to like get their one neutral spot, and then they get their neutral, and then they're like attack 4 times in a row, you know, and then they're like, now I'm back to running away because the trades aren't that bad for you. So once you actually get Sheik in like kind of an awkward like maybe they're gonna flail situation, it's either like go back to waiting and see if they like throw out something dumb, or just insta trade again and hope they're like trying to like go back to waiting and get caught by like the instant attack.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
These mix that just repeat over and over. The matchup's kind of like repetitive. It's just a lot of Pikachu running around like a crazy person. And Sheik like, come on, let's fight. Like I think this is good where you're like, I do think you started out too aggro because the one thing I was thinking when I saw this is that like as the Sheik here, you get grabbed here every day of the week. Like I'm just gonna CC grab this literally every time. It's like, oh
yeah, I don't
boom,
know
CC grab, and so it's like you, especially on Stadium. I think Stadium is a good one for Pikachu because the platforms are so tricky. Like you can get a lot of this here where you get this and you jump in, and instead of naring, you get jump, drop, double jump, waveland off right here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's like, whew, that's really big. If Sheik whiffs a forward tilt here, you get like a nice opening.
Got it. What do you think? Can I give you your opinion on the stages real quick?
I think they're all bad. I think FD is the best one.
For Pika?
For Pikachu.
Damn, you're the first person that's kind of like on my side with that.
And I think the reason is that the edge guard just becomes way, way stronger.
Yeah, it really does.
It's like Pikachu has good combos. And so the issue is basically Pikachu's neutral game is worse on FD because in some ways, like it nerfs Sheik's neutral too. The Sheik shouldn't really be overusing the platforms too much. But I think it nerfs Pikachu's neutral, and it also nerfs Pikachu's ability to like escape combos. But Sheik just gets like one tapped. Like if you do it right, you're just kind of like, well, everything's kind of worse here, but I grabbed you, and now like grab, nair, up air, grab ledge, back throw again, grab ledge, back throw again, get up smash, charge it up smash, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
And so like I feel like when I'm playing Sheik, like I think they're all bad. Like I said, I think they're all pretty rough.
All right, what's the worst one then?
Like Sheik's best stage against Pikachu.
Yeah, Sheik's best stage.
What is Sheik's?
I've been hating like Yoshi's recently, but I
think Yoshi's is kind of rough.
You just killed me earlier, so
Yoshi. They all have like, well, Pikachu kind of gets this advantage there, you know, but then at the same time it's like, yeah, well, forward tilt forward air kills early. Like, oh, yeah. Like the fact that falling up air on side plat, double jump up air will kill you at like 65 or something. It's just like, oh, come on, you know, like it's just like you die really early, and I think the survivability is kind of like a pretty good part of
because I can just have more opportunities to win.
Yeah, like the survivability helps a lot in like getting trades and stuff like that. What do I think is the best stage? Like, I mean, or like the worst stage?
Yeah.
Like where do I counterpick here? Let me think. Honestly, I don't think I think about it that much as Sheik.
Dude, I think about it every week, and every week I come to the conclusion where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like, well, this one's big, and so maybe, and they're like, Sheik's good on the big ones. You're like, darn it.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, this one's flat, and they're like, I hate to tell you this, but Sheik is kind of good on the flat ones.
I know Axe likes FOD because it's quick to get Sheik off the stage, and you get some FD moments.
Yeah, I think
Then I
like
can't dance as much when it feels a little tricky. But
yeah, like I think like FOD, if you can get like a low platform, because then you kind of get the FD edge guard where they can't like go to the plat, is like pretty good. Yeah, I mean probably FOD, I guess. It's like man, there's like 100 pound guy and a 300 pound guy, and you're like, all right, like which venue do you think is the best?
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, like they're all like kind of similar, and they all kind of have like their pros and cons. Like even like FD and like Stadium, which are kind of like Pika stages or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, this feels like my stage, like as Sheik. So I don't really know. Um, I think it's probably like a preference thing.
okay,
Like I
that's
think
fair.
some Pikachu's really like FD, some of them like FOD. Like I think there's like I don't know. It kind of depends. Like, are you hitting the edge guards? Are you hitting the combos? Like, who's
Yeah.
using the platforms? I,
Okay,
I
that's
feel
fair.
like, yeah, it's just because, like, they all have pretty common elements to them.
Yeah.
And, like, this on the small stages, like, it's kind of nice because Sheik feels, like, more threatened to attack you. But then, like, you have less space to dash dance. So, like, Sheik on Yoshi's is like, oh no, like you're trying to get me to forward tilt, boost grab, and it just covers like 80% of the stage, you know? And so it's like, I think it kind of just depends on like what you feel the most comfortable with. And there might be a best stage that I just don't understand. But like overall, I haven't really felt like a massive plus or minus on any of the stages. The only weird one is just FD. Like sometimes I just get like messed up on FD.
Yeah, I like FD too. Okay, I'm gonna just ask you like a few mentality questions if that's cool, just kind of relating to like that.
Yeah, let's do
Um,
it.
so I feel like very like I was asking you about like the stages. I feel very like character and like matchup obsessed. But then I look at things like generally and I'm like, damn, I feel like if like a really good player just picked up Pikachu, they would be like already better at the game just with Pikachu. It's like not really I have like a character obsession rather than like a general improvement obsession, which I feel like I
Mm.
need to just get better at the game in general, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know how to like go about that if that makes sense.
Hmm. So how is getting better at Pikachu not like how is that disconnected from getting better at the game? Like, can you explain that a little bit?
Um, I don't know if it's like I don't know. I could just be wrong. I just feel like Axe could pick up any character and be good with them, and I'm trying to like
Mm-hmm.
figure out what the difference is between like just being good at the game and being good at the character, or maybe that is just the same thing, and I'm kind of just off base. But
Hmm. I think like you learn to play against the other characters, you know? Like if you know how to edgeguard Sheik really well as like Fox, then when you play like Pikachu, you know, you're like, oh, it's kind of like similar. Like you get them off and you grab ledge and you get up from ledge and you up smash, you know? And
yeah, that makes sense.
I think the game has like a lot of parallels between characters where like Pikachu has like less parallels than like the top tiers because it's kind of like a weird like mid tier type of
Yeah,
vibe. Um, but normally it's kind of like yeah, like if you get good at like juggling Marth or you get good at like dealing like let's say you get good at dealing with like a Marth down tilting. You know, you get good at short hopping over it or you get good at dashing around it or stuff like that. Or like let's like sometimes you shield it and wave dash back, sometimes you short hop over it. If you get good at interacting with like this move, then like when you play another character, it's basically like well you figure out their jump squat and like sometimes if you try the same tool, it's not gonna work. Um, but like you can then adapt to like oh I tried the tool that usually works and it doesn't work so why is that and then figuring out like how to like kind of like make that move work. um
okay, yeah. I guess I do that. I just haven't thought about like how intense it is to just, or not intense, but like how important it is to just play the other character, like play versus the other character. That makes sense.
yeah because there's like a lot of spots of like if you get like a nair or whatever it's like you know nair has standard like 44-degree knockback or whatever like most of the characters in the game can kind of do like a nair of some kind and you can
Yeah.
and that's kind of like how you put it together and then especially like once you've played most of the major characters for like a little bit at least, like a decent amount, then like you just kind of know like oh, it's like pretty much a normal character, but they can't deal with this in the same way. Like they have to act kind of weird here, stuff like that. And I think it kind of like even extends to like scrambles of like knowing to like hold down like CC dash grab is the same with every character, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I
Okay.
think like you get good at like doing pieces of the game and like dealing with solving certain problems that like the other characters present to you of like you need to you need to work around this, deal with this, edge guard this, whatever, and like you get good at dealing with like those options and solving those problems. Then like it's kind of easy to like switch characters and do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. My next one was about solo practice because I feel like I don't solo practice as much. I'm trying to like get back into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like this is a great opportunity for me to like solo practice like the dash dance spacing around like F tilt and stuff. Um, do you like what do you think about like Uncle Punch and like setting up save states and stuff? Is that like super beneficial for like situations like where I'm trying to punish these F tilts?
Yeah, I think for a situation like this, just like setting Sheik up to do like aerial F tilt and stuff, and various other things, and just like wave dash in F tilt, and then you kind of like dash dance, and then like have the wave dash in like F tilt, and I think like the solo practice is useful. I think if you can like kind of like have like a friend or something, I think that's even better. Where you kind of like are just dash dancing in place, and you can have your friend like crouch, and you can be like, okay, like wave dash in and F tilt me at some time, so that they can like mix up the timing for you, and just
Yeah.
like
Okay.
oh dash back and then like punish it, and then just kind of like practice that, and you can do it to some degree in solo practice too. I think like just kind of like repeating those situations and making sure like you can kind of like get a handle on like um just be like okay forward tilt when you think I'm gonna come in, like try to trade me, and then just like try to get them to bait the F tilt, like try to bait the F tilt out and like get a punish out of it and stuff like that, and then like the same process will repeat in the game.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think like my main problem with Uncle Punch is like I'll do one of two things where I'll set up a save state with like no mix up where it's just one thing and then I'll stop reacting to it and just like muscle memory like what's already happening on the
Mm-hmm.
screen. Or I'll set up a save state that does multiple things and it just feels like absolutely impossible to react to some of them.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. um yeah, like I think if you can, setting up like an ambiguous save state is pretty good, because you sort of practice like most situations like aren't super reactable like raw. Like if you're setting stuff up, you can practice if I'm doing like basically if I'm doing like a save state where it like mixes between two options. um Usually I will calculate ahead of time which frame I need to be reacting to,
Okay.
and if like I look at it and it's not reactable like frame wise, there's not a frame I can react to, then I try to like work on it as like an option coverage of like, is there an option that'll beat both of these here. But normally if I was just practicing like a thing like this, I feel like I would be more like I think you can just do the one save state and just like focus really hard on like exactly where you can space to get around the F tilt and stuff like that, rather than worrying about like trying to like program in the reaction. I would say like practicing with a friend or like playing somebody like way worse than you is probably better to practice something like that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense too. Uh all right, my next question. Which I don't know if you'll have a great answer to, but just want to hear what you have to say about it.
Okay.
Um, like conscious thinking during games has been a big problem for me where I'll like stop thinking and play really well, and then I'll come back down like last stock and I'll be like either thinking about the result of the match, thinking about what they're gonna do like consciously in my head rather than just like being in like a flow state kind of thing or whatever. Um, and I want to know like when you consciously think when you play or if you do it all
You should be consciously thinking between games.
between games. Okay.
You shouldn't be consciously thinking. I think the only time that I ever consciously think during a game, like in the middle of a game, is if you hit somebody way off stage, and then
Okay.
you get a second to be like, okay, what are they gonna do here? Like because you get like 5 seconds to think. Uh,
Yeah.
I think like that opportunity, or like maybe if I hit somebody really high up in the air, but they're like not quite dead, I'll take like just a second and be like, what do they want here? Like, what's going on? But like, those are very optional. And I would
Yeah.
say, like, for the most part, if you notice that you started consciously thinking during a game, that's bad.
Okay. Do you ever get to the point where you're thinking consciously in game and you have to fix it?
Yeah, all the time.
How do you fix it? Do you have like strategies to fix it?
Yeah, usually what I do is because it's basically like it's like being on like a train, like you got to be in like the flow. And
Yeah.
so what I'll do is if I get thrown off and I start consciously thinking, I pick a mix up that I know is a good mix up. Like I won't just be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll nair. Like sometimes I do that. I try to fix that.
Yeah.
Um, but like do a thing where you're like, oh, like I do this, like what I'll basically do is I'll do like a preset smart thought. Like I'll be like,
Give me an example.
yeah, like maybe you dash back, slight dash in, wave dash down, dash nair, or something
Okay.
like
So
that. Like
something's just like
I'll have
generally
like a little like just some form of a sequence that's not immediately obvious. Like it's not just like the level 1 thing and they're like really likely to like predict it. If you can
okay.
just do a mix up that like any sort of interesting like mix up that they're not like likely to predict, and it'll just let you like get a mix out and then like and then you just try to keep flowing off that mix.
Okay, yeah. Because then you're like thinking about something in
Like
the
you just
game.
need to like start going again.
Yeah, so you
And
just do
like
something that's like generally probably pretty good in the matchup.
yeah, because as long as it's not something predictable, like as long as it's not just like a level 1 thing. Like I think like a lot of times I also won't like particularly be like reacting to the opponent. It's just like if you do an option that's sort of like a pretty solid option, but it's also really out of the blue, you don't have a great chance of hitting them with it, but they don't have a great chance of hitting you with their best thing either, because it's just sort of out of left field.
Okay.
And it'll just kind of let me like, oh, okay, I got something out, because you get stuck in this like, oh, I'm like, I need to stop thinking, and you're like, got it, and you're like up smash or something, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
like triple spot dodge, and it's like, yeah, that's sort of like my way out of that, because otherwise, like, you're essentially doing like a translation of the game to like English, like during the
Yeah,
game
super
rather than
slow.
thinking about the game.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay, I gotta stop thinking. I gotta get back in the game, and then by then I'm like already chain grabbed to 80, and I don't even know what happened. So, yeah, that's fair. Um, and then I guess I'll just ask you what we started with then, about like melee goals and like rankings and stuff. Do you think like ranking goals are unhealthy?
No, not
Okay.
necessarily. I think I think what can be unhealthy about it is like people will feel like basically what you want is you want to be good enough that like the rank happens rather than
Yeah.
like just making the rank itself happen.
Yeah,
And
that's very
so
true.
what people will feel like is they'll be like, "Oh, like I just need the bracket to go this way." And oh no, like if I hadn't just barely dropped that one game 5, I would be like ranked higher and I would reach the goal or whatever. And I think that's like unhealthy.
Yeah, I
Like
definitely get those thoughts.
like when you deserve in your mind when you're like I'm top 50, you'll be ranked like 80 something. But
Yeah.
and like that's just natural and that's fine. I think like what you don't want to be is like just need to be top 100, and then it's like, well, you fought 3 people who had never even seen Pikachu on the screen before, and you like stole a dub because they SD'd, and then you're like reached my goals, and I think like that's
Yeah.
definitely unhealthy.
That's for sure. Yeah, yeah.
But I think like wanting to be good and like basically like having targets for the game and being like, okay, like like I think like finding somebody at like the rank you want to surpass and being like, I will make sure I get better, like I will be better than them, and have better results than them. Like I think just the important thing, like the rank will trail beyond, like behind the skill.
Okay.
And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
fair.
like an important thing to keep in mind. Like you want to be good enough to like break through the barrier, like hit top 100 but keep going, rather than like setting things up just enough to like, I just need to squeeze
Barely
it out. Because I
scratch it.
think that people do that a lot. They kind of like set a goal for like, I'm gonna get PR'd, and then like every season they just like barely beat and lose to the people to like barely not make PR, and then they're in like the chat like, dude, come on, I should be ranked number 26, like we all know this, and I think that's like
Yeah.
what can happen in a negative mentality sense that you want to avoid, but overall it's not bad.
Okay. Um, and then what do you do after like losses? Like, do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have. It's a very complicated thing. I just want to hear your take on it.
um it depends. I think the best way to deal with losses always is immediately after you lose to watch the VOD, if there's a
I've
VOD.
kind of just started to realize that, so I'm glad you said that.
It's really, really, really broken.
Yeah, because it really feels when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I just did this wrong.
Yeah, because you're just sitting there and you're like, no, nah. Like, they just think I should die. Like, they just think I'm worthless. And then you watch and you're like, oh, they shield grabbed me because I missed my L cancel.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're like,
you're
oh,
right.
like, turns out, like, it wasn't that I was a worthless person. It was that I, like, got hit in the video game. Like, I think it contextualizes things, like, a lot away from, like, because the game is like an emotional conversation, and like it has a lot of like, oh, you're scared, aren't you? And you're like, yeah, and then they get you, and you're like, you feel like it feels shameful, right? Like it feels bad, like embarrassing, and like it feels bad to like be bad at the game and make bad decisions. But then when you watch it back,
It's just
like your
like the
brain will
reality.
be able to see, yeah, like it just shows you the reality of like, oh yeah, I'm a guy playing a video game, and sometimes I do like the bad button. Like it's okay.
Yeah,
Like it's okay to just go home and practice good button and then come back and like try to do good button next time. Like nobody's dying.
yeah, that's a good ass piece of advice. I appreciate that one. I like
Otherwise, you
that.
just leave and you go home and you're like trying to fall asleep and you're like, oh, I missed the tech. Oh, I missed the tech.
Yeah, yeah,
And
you're
it's like,
very.
yeah, I did that for like years. And eventually you're just like, no, like, you gotta forgive yourself for missing the tech. And you can only do that by watching the VOD.
Yeah, you're super right. Yeah, because then like 4 days after like the tournament, I'll go back and watch the VOD, and then I'll be like, damn, I just like did this wrong, and then it's like I don't feel bad about it anymore because it's like I have something to do then.
Mm-hmm. And I do think
So
that like there's an element to it of like sometimes you lose and you just know exactly why you lost, like exactly, and you're like, I'm good. But if you show up and I think that's fine if you truly know what's up. But if you show up and lose again, then you gotta watch them both.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
But so it's like usually I think it's best to like watch your losses.
that's a good
Like
idea.
immediately. Like I would like walk. Like I think that like any amount of time after the loss that like you don't spend like that you go after your loss before you watch the VOD, like the more time that passes is just like more time for you to be wrong. And like solidify
Yeah.
that in your head of like, oh, they got me because all they did was camp, and then you watch and you're just rushing at them, and it's like you can get those wrong impressions from playing, but you won't have them while you're watching.
That is very true. Yeah, that's a good piece of advice.
And I got this from Zane because I watched that, like it was in my like angry era, and I watched Zane just lose the saddest set of all time. It just looked like he wanted to die, and he just walked off the stage with his head hanging, sat in the corner, and just watched the VOD. And I was like,
Damn,
dude, like
that's
go
crazy.
like I was like, that's
Yeah,
crazy. And
yeah,
like
his
since
mentality
then
is
I
crazy.
tried it. It was like a bunch of years ago now, but I tried it, and I'm like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure. That sounds like a good idea.
Any other questions for now?
I think I got most of them. That was good. The mentality questions were definitely very helpful. And then yeah, I feel like I have a lot to work on with the VOD and just solo practicing, like punishing like tilts and staying in that range, like finding different ways.
And I also think like if you think of this stuff in mind, like you keep this stuff in mind while you watch like good Pikachu versus Sheik VODs, you'll just see like all of this stuff happen,
Oh
like
yeah,
way more.
that was one of my other questions. Like when I watch like an Axe VOD or like a J2 VOD or something,
Mm-hmm.
like what to look for. But I guess that kind of answered that. Just like
Yeah, because we just talked about all the stuff you can look for. You can just like
yeah,
steal all their methods for going crazy on plats and baiting Sheik out, and like the way they dash dance and all that stuff.
yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, sounds good. Did I need to send you my payment info?
Yeah, I was about to ask you about
Okay, cool.
that.
I'll do that right now.
Okay, sounds
Um,
good.
all right. If you have any additional clips or questions like related to this stuff, feel free to hit me up about it. Or if you get like a big win or something, I want to hear about it.
For sure. Yeah, I'll
And
definitely let you know.
sounds good. Just let me know. And hope
Awesome.
you have a good one.
Thank you, you too. This will be on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll upload it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right.
just go back to
Sounds
it and
good.
take notes.
Peace.
All right, peace. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.